What's going on, family? This is your boy Kadar coming to you with another blessed word from Yahweh. I'd like to give thanks to Yahweh, to the son Yahweh Shah, Paleo Hebrew. I'd like to thank him for just waking me up and giving me a mind to go out and preach the truth. Um, this is like a dream come true. I never thought that I would be in a position to be preaching the real word, the real word of Yahweh. We raised up in the Christian church, and everybody want to be a preacher, and everybody's not called to preach, but it seems like they are. You know. But today's message is simply: Black people, wake up and get out of these Christian churches. I had a message today by this pastor. He did real good. And what he was doing is explaining through the scriptures. He can tell he been studying and really getting into the word that we are the true Hebrew Israelites. Well, we are the true Israelites, or Eve Israelites, really. That's how you pronounce it in Paleo Hebrew. Eve, Eve, Eve. So anyway, this pastor, he did a real good job. He opened up the word and he went through the scriptures and he went to the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 28 is basically, man, no other people on the face of the earth went through what we went through as our ancestors went through in that slave trade. And Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 60, where verse 45 all the way up verse 68, it tells about the curses that we're going through, that we are still going through. I had a little small debate online with this Caucasian guy, and you can tell he was more like a white supremacy guy. And he had made a statement that Negroes are not the real, Israelites. And I said, well, I asked him, well, who do you think they are? Who do you think the real Israelites? He had put on there that the white man translate the Bible over to English, so the white people are the 10 lost tribes. I said, oh my goodness. First of all, y'all don't fit the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. And when I said that and I laughed, I said, even white people today, they know better than that. Stop, Fendi. And sorry about that. Cat messing with me. So he he kind of paused and he didn't say nothing for a while. Then he sent me this long list of things, something about in 1570 AD, the Israelites traveled from Israel into Europe and became some type of people and traveled through the Caucasus Mountains. And that didn't happen, but the Edomites did go to the Caucasus Mountains. The Israelites was put on slave ships, which is my ancestors. But let's get into the word. That's enough of that. So it was a easy debate, the guy just got mad, started calling me names, and I'm letting them know according to Romans 9, you ever read Romans chapter 9, verse 1 through 3, it says, for God, for Jacob, the Most High said, for Jacob I have loved, Esau I have hated. And all you got to do is recognize who Esau is, and you can find the Edomites and who the Most High said he hated. So today we're going to start out, I'm going to start out with John 3:16. The Edomites and the heathens' favorite verse. Oh, God loves everybody. And they run to John 3:16, and they'll say the gospel and the new covenant is for everybody. And, we need to get some understanding because, the Gentiles, it's a non-Israelites, they can be grafted in. Now, sometimes when they say Gentiles in the Bible, it's talking about Israelites that is living as Gentiles. So they call them Gentiles. About like we are in America. We call ourselves African Americans. African American. If Paul or Shawu was coming here and preach today, he would call us Gentiles because we don't know that we are the children of Israel, but what we are. But a lot of black people don't know and don't want to accept it. And somehow Christianity has somehow messed with their minds to let them think to be an Israelite is a bad thing. What? Man, do you realize the inheritance of being an Israelite, a true people of the Most High? But it seems like when I go tell black people, you're an Israelite, they, instead of getting happy, they get mad. I'm like, and I be so confused. And what it is, Christianity is don't mess us up, thinking it's better to be a Gentile than an Israelite. Oh my goodness. Well, wake up, black people. Let's go. Sorry about that. Let's go to John chapter 3. John chapter 3. Okay. And so, famous, saying for everybody. I would love to go. John chapter 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Now, when you reading that word world, you think about the whole world, right? That word world is the world of Israel. Now, what we need to do is go search and see where this prophecy is coming from. So if we turn some pages back, we need to search and find out where is John getting this prophecy and where it's coming from. We need to find that. Find where this prophecy comes from. I'm marking something else I'll probably go to too, because I happen to see it. So when I see stuff when I'm going through the Bible, I kind of mark it. But a lot of times when we read John 3:16 and we see that word, whosoever believes in him shall not perish, have everlasting life. We need to go to Joel chapter 2. And if you have your Bibles, go to Joel chapter 2. We're going to see where they're getting this prophecy from. And we're going to see if this prophecy have this prophecy happened yet. Have it happened yet. Now listen to this. Joel chapter 2, verse 32. And it says, and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered from Mount Zion, and in Jerusalem shall be delivered, as the Lord has said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. Wow. Okay, that's a precept to that. Now, this is the problem when people read the Bible and they say God, that John 3:16 means the whole world. No, it's talking about Jerusalem. And that prophecy has not completely been fulfilled yet. It's a future prophecy. And it's going to be fulfilled. And it's talking about us, Israelites. Now, let's go to Romans chapter 11. Now, Romans chapter 11 is going to explain to y'all that some Gentiles they can get in. They can get in. It's not saying the Gentiles not. Now, sometimes we're talking about Gentiles, it's talking about, Israelites. So let's go to Romans chapter 11. I'm going to start reading at verse 19. Romans chapter 11, verse 19. And I'm going to read all the way to verse 27. So follow along with me. Now listen to this. Thou would say, no, I start reading that verse. I'm going to start reading that verse. Verse 17. Romans 11, start reading at verse 17. And if some of the branches be broken off, there being a wild olive tree were grafted in among them, and with them partakers of the root and fatness of the olive tree. I'm talking about when the Israelites sinned, some of the Israelites, the branches have been broken off. The wild olive tree is Gentiles. But look what verse 8 says. Boast not against the branches. Boast not against Israelites. But if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Verse 19 it says, thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of the unbelief, they were broken off. Some Israelites didn't believe in the Most High. Some Israelites didn't believe in the Son. Some Israelites still don't believe in the Son of the Most High. And by that, they was broken off. And then thou standest by faith, but not high-minded, but fear. So when the Gentiles come in, they're not supposed to be high-minded, but with fear. Keep reading. For if God spare not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. If he didn't spare Israel, he broke them off. You a Gentile, because you come in the fold, you don't need to be boasting, because he sure ain't going to spare you. Verse 22 goes on and says, behold, therefore, the goodness and sovereignty of God on them which fail sovereignty God, on them which fail sovereignty, but towards the goodness, if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou shalt also, thou also shall be cut off. So, if you gonna continue in the goodness of the Most High, and if you, as a Gentile, think you can boast and say, hey, the Israelites are done away with. Oh, anybody can be saved. It's just for the church. All you got to do is give your heart to Jesus Christ and you're saved. It's a lie. It's telling you right here, you can't boast against the natural branches. You can't boast against the Israelites. You can't boast against them. But this is something that preachers don't preach in their church. And they leading people down the wrong road when they don't do that. That's why people freely say, oh, the Gentile, the Israelites are done away with. Crazy. But this is why they do that. Okay. Let's go on to verse 23. And thou and they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in, but God is able to graft them in again. Israelites, please come back in the fold. Get out of Christianity, come back in the fold. Now watch this. For if thou weren't cut out of the olive tree, which is the wild but natural, weren't grafted contrary to natural into a good olive tree, how much more shall these which be the natural branches be grafted in their own olive tree? See? Come back in the fold. You got to wake up and realize that you are Israelites, not Christians. That's not biblical. Verse 25 goes on and says, for I will not, brethren, that ye be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceit, that blindness in part is happened to Israel. We are blind, and we're blind in these other churches, these religious and Buddhist, Christianity, Catholic, which is the same thing, Islam, all different type of religious stuff that we in. It blinded us. We are blind right now. Now I'm going to keep reading. This is verse 25. It says, blindness in part has happened unto Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. Now, I'm going to let you know what that means. Between the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. That's a prophecy from the Messiah. Is going to talk about that in Luke 21. Verse 26, it says, and so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion and deliver, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them when I shall take away their sins. See? That's why we're not completely in the New Testament. Because, and we just read in Joel chapter 2, it says, whoever shall call on us shall be delivered from Mount Zion to Jerusalem. And we just read this right here. We know that the Messiah had already died and resurrected, but yet still work is need to be done till we get to that point that we won't even want to sin anymore. So Now, let's go to Luke chapter 21. We're going to let the people know that Gentiles they can come in the fold, but they're going to have to cleave to the house of Jacob. And it's a reason why they're going to come in too. They're not going to come in equal to us like Christianity teach everybody's kumbaya, holding hands, and praise and worship together. No. If that case, then this Bible right here, no, it's telling a lie. That's what I'm saying. Either somebody's lying. So Luke chapter 21. Luke 21. Let me see. Luke 21. Let's start at verse 24. Luke 21:24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. Talking about Israelites. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, into the fullness of the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Jerusalem or Israelites over there is trodden down, right? And been trodden down ever since 7 AD, and them heathens are still over there trotting it down right now as we speak today. So this is talking about Israel, people. The deliverance are for Israel, and whoever that's a Gentile have to cleave to Israel. When I say cleave to Israel, let's go to Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14. We're going to prove that when it said cleaves to Israel, that's what it means. I say these other nations, if y'all want to get in, y'all need to wake up just as well as Israelites need to wake up to who they are. And other nations, y'all need to wake up to who we are and start blessing us. Yeah, here we go. Isaiah chapter 14. Here. Okay, now listen to this. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers, which is the Gentiles, shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to the place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captive, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Now, how in the world do you see in this writing right here? This is what I'm talking about. Gentiles have to cleave to us, Israelites. Do you see Christians in here? All we see is Israel. So when Paul is talking about that I'm an Israelite, so much more on the inner part instead of outer, he's talking about these Israelites that did not believe in the Messiah. Nothing. And you got to understand the 10 tribes, they sinned so much against the Most High. The Most High hated them. So the Messiah had to come back and die for his brothers to reunite, reconcile us back to the Most High. Now check this out. I know you said, being like, man, ain't no way, you crazy. Well, we're going to find out how crazy I am. That's what we're going to do. Let's, sometimes, people say, oh, you crazy. And let's go to, let me see, Ezekiel, I'm going to start reading at verse 15. Now listen to this. This is what the whole purpose of the Messiah coming and dying for his people. Ezekiel chapter 37. Ezekiel 37 verse 15 reads, the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah. Boom. Give me 2 sticks in here. I'm going to use it. Take one stick and write up in Judah. Boom. release. This is my one stick. This is Ezekiel 37, verse 15. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah. Boom, this is Judah. And for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim. Boom, this is the stick of Ephraim. This is the southern kingdom, and this is the northern kingdom on my right side. Southern on the left, northern on the right. And I'm on verse, and it says for, let's go back and read it. Moreover, that's the son of man, take the one stick and write upon it for Judah, and for the children of Israel, his companion, then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph. That's Joseph. The stick of Ephraim for all the house of Israel, which is Joseph, Ephraim, all the house of Israel, his companion, and join them. Bam. See? Join them. This is the plan. Join them, and they shall become one in thy hand. And when the children of the people shall speak unto thee, saying, why thou not show us why thou meanest by this? Said unto them, thus said the Lord, behold, I will take, this is what he's going to say, I will take the stick of Joseph, which in the hands of Ephraim. Now coming from Ezekiel chapter 37, I'm on verse 19 now. I will take the stick of Joseph, which in the hands of Ephraim, and the tribe of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with them, even the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be in my hand, and the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thy hand before thy eyes, and say unto, finish, stop, and say, right shall be in their hand before their eyes, and say unto them, thus said the Lord, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathens, whether they be gone, and will gather them unto every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land, upon the mountains of Israel, and one kingdom shall be kings to them, and all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestables and things, nor with any other transgression, but I will save them out of their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them, so shall they be one, so they be my people, and I will be their God. And David, my servant, shall be their king of them, and they all shall have one shepherd, and they shall all walk in my judgment and observe my statutes and do them. Now, reading all that right there, this is the plan why the Messiah came, is to bring Israel back together. Now, the Gentiles can cleave. This is Ezekiel chapter 37. If this never happened, as a prophecy, it's going to happen, and you can read it yourself. Now, you got these people out here saying that black people, y'all ain't no Israelites, y'all ain't this, and I tell them, you making a prophecy come to happen. And I'm telling you, the new covenant was only for Israel. But the Gentiles can get grafted in, but they got to cleave to the house of Israel. And they going to be servants, but they going to want to be servants. Now, for y'all naysayers and I hear saying that we are not Israelites, this is the book of Hosea. Hosea right here. Hosea chapter 2. We're going to read verse 23. And I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. Talking about Israel. And I will say to them, which were not my people, they are my people, and they shall say, they are my God. People saying that we are not God's people and we are his people. Now let's go to Hebrews chapter 8. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 8. Then we're going to go to Revelations. And this is something. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 8. This is something I asked any of these people. They were, oh, the covenant is for everybody. Lie. Lie. You lie, the Bible lie. Which one? And then if I was an atheist, I could trick one of these pastors don't know what they're talking about. Just open up this Bible and say the Bible contradicts itself. Because when you read John 3:16, it says whosoever, which I know what it means, because all I got to do is go to Joel chapter 2, verse 32, and explain, talking about Israel. But if I was an atheist, I could really trick somebody like this. Because let's go to Hebrews chapter 8. I could say, well, the Bible contradicts itself, but it's not. It's that somebody going to put the word world in there when they did translation to try to confuse us. But you don't mean that. It means the world, the governor around the area. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 8. Start reading verse 8. Hebrews 8, verse 8. Please read it as you get a chance. For finding fault with them, he said, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. That's what we just read in Ezekiel chapter 37. Take one stick of Judah and Israel and put them together and say they're going to become one. That's what he's talking about. Now I'm going to keep reading. Not according to verse 9, Hebrews 8, verse 9 now. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the days when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because thou continue not in my covenant, and I regard them not, said the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days. Only house of Israel. You don't see nobody else. No house of no white people, no Chinese, no Africans, just Israel. That's it. That's what it said. I didn't say it. Verse 10 says, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, said the Lord, I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. Put the laws in their mind and write them in the heart. We're still going to follow the laws. Like people say, oh no, you don't follow the law. What did he say? And they shall not teach every man his neighbor. They shall not teach every man his neighbor. Why? No, they should not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me from the least to the greatest, for I will be merciful to their unrighteousness and their sins and their iniquities, and will I remember no more. This is that God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. Whosoever believe him, from Mount Zion to Jerusalem. Israelites, what it's talking about. For I will be merciful unto their unrighteousness and their sins and their iniquities, and I remember no more. And that he said a new covenant he has made the first old, and now that which decay and wax old is ready to vanish away. We are not completely in the new covenant, people. It's right here, because every man are still preaching and teaching today. And it says right here, and we're going to be no need for that. But you know why we still preaching and teaching? Because God, the Most High, Yahweh, haven't sealed the elect completely in the head. And the times of the Gentiles is almost up. They've been trotting over there for a long time. So that's almost up. And so when that's come up, when that time is due and the elect is sealed, then you're going to see things starting to happen. But the new covenant was only for Israel. And, you know, I heard this guy say that anybody can come an Israelite. That's another lie. The Bible don't say that. Paul was not talking about that. Oh my goodness. We read how the Gentiles can cleave. We read how the Gentiles are supposed to boast. If they boast, they'll be cut off. What Paul said, and that's going to be a backtrack. Do a backtrack. We read in Luke 21 how the Messiah said that we was going to be led in captivity. That happened. How the Messiah said that until the time of the Gentiles. That's happening now. Then we went to Ezekiel 37 and proved that he took the stick of the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, which is Ephraim, and Judah and put them together and become one kingdom. That's what all the purpose of the Messiah coming. And we read in Romans 11, yeah, the Gentiles can be grafted in because some of us didn't believe. So them branches broke off, so okay, y'all come on in. But the ones that didn't believe, the Israelites, still can be saved. This has all been done, according to Romans 11, to save all of Israel. That's what it says. And it say all them Christians, and it say that. People need to stop adding stuff to the Bible by saying you can become an Israelite. No. However, when you get over to that land, you will be considered an Israelite. When you have your own land, you living there. If you cleave to the house of, that is true. But you not come an Israelite, you still a Gentile, physically. So, but anyway, let's go to, we read all that now. We just read Hebrews 8. Let us know that the covenant was only for Israelites. Now let's go to the last one, Revelation chapter 21. Now, people are saying, oh, you got to be a Christian to be saved. Well, I asked them this. What gate are you going to walk in? Let's read Revelation chapter 1. If you call yourself a Christian, you tell me that you can find a gate on the New Jerusalem that come down that say Christian. Listen to this, what it says. Revelation 21, verse 11. Having the glory of God, and his light was like unto a stone, most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written in thereon. Let's look at the names, which are the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel. On the east, 3 gates. Of the north, 3 gates. Of the south, 3 gates. And on the west, 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them a name of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. Now, where do you see Christian at? So you want to call yourself a Christian, you want to stand in Christianity. I used to preach in that mess, and it's a lie. And not because of, I'm not saying black. We've been taught that. We've been beaten in through slave. That's who enslaved us. And they taught us you got to be a Christian, got to be a Christian, got to be a Christian. But the Bible don't tell you that. The Bible tells you it's all about Israelites, and we are the true Israelites. The word of God, the word of Yahweh, and by the name of his son Yahweh Shah, from Kadah, the little son. Shalom, mong, mong, mong.